Hi everyone, I'm Tom Luongo, and I'm one of the contributors over at PlanetFreeWill.com. My colleague Stephanie MacWilliams did one of these yesterday in service of her article about what progressives could learn about why Hillary lost. And I wanted to talk about the article that I wrote yesterday as well. It's more of a tactical look at what went wrong for her in the Rust Belt, and I called it Blowing the Rust Off of Hillary's America. And if you've watched Clinton Cash or the Hillary's America documentary, you kind of know what I'm talking about here. The basic thesis is that Hillary never had a chance in this election because she lost the Rust Belt vote a long time ago. She lost it to Bernie Sanders back in the primaries, and once Sanders was dispatched with all due haste and villainy by the DNC, Trump took up the mantle of those people and ran with it all the way to the presidency. This is why he was able to squeak by in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio. So I'd like to read that article to you now, and bear with, because this is really hard to do in one take. But hey, I'm supposed to be a professional, so let's see what we can do, right? All right, ready? Blowing the rust off of Hillary's America. In October, I wrote a blog that defined Hillary Clinton's problems with her own base. It boiled down to her authenticity gap with voters. In it, I said that the tensions within the Democratic Party would not be resolved and ultimately would hand Donald Trump the victory in the race for the presidency. I was proven right because Trump understood, like I did, that the Rust Belt was the key to the election. Now, a lot of column inches will be spilled in pursuit of what went wrong for Hillary, and a lot of tears will be spilled as well from people who refuse to respect the strength and resolve of voters who had had more than enough of being harangued for not being willing to embrace nihilism as progress. But in the end, it came down to a simple calculus. Could Trump convince enough formerly middle-class people of both sexes and most races to vote for change in the Rust Belt? If yes, he wins. If not, she wins. And those crying and threatening to leave the country in a prepubescent snit because you didn't get your cookie of a female president, I say, do it. Stop holding your breath and screeching like a 10-year-old on a sugar high and forge your path. Just don't expect us to follow you or be willing to pay your way. I mean, unless, of course, you're Lena Dunham. Then I've got a $5 down for her to find her bliss. If she hates males so much, she should try a convent. Or maybe a women's prison. For those in the Rust Belt, this was their existential crisis. These are people with mostly unsophisticated taste, but don't mistake that lack of sophistication for stupidity or worse, ignorance. They knew what was at stake, and like good parents, they stood their ground and said, no more. Grow up and get out. And that's the fundamental problem with progressives. They are such useful idiots for those that wield real power that no one ever told them, no. Just no. Those unsophisticated white deplorables being vilified today by those with her went to the polls to do just that. Tell these overeducated yet imbecilic children, no. After 24 years of knowing Hillary Clinton was the antithesis of who they were, 24 years of watching their futures mortgaged inch by inch, their communities hollowed out, and families pulled apart in pursuit of lower pay, longer hours, and higher prices. 24 years of endless wars accomplishing nothing, only to come home to a home full of cheap Chinese crap they used to make themselves, and they finally decided they wanted their dignity back. And the prospect of Hillary Clinton as their president for the next 8 years, as their obnoxious supporters castigate them as the villains in their sick culture war to normalize deviance and celebrate nihilism, was one insult too many. Now, that's not racist or sexist or ageist. They aren't bigots, and even if so, some of them are, so what? Whatever happened to trying to change people's minds by looking into their hearts? Enshrining Hillary as president only encourages a deeper divide between the generation. She's the one who encouraged violence and intolerance because progressives' cause is righteous. This creates a vicious war between parents who are rightfully scared of the future, and their children who are wholly unprepared to face the real consequences of policies that have placed all of them in such a fragile frame of mind. As Trump said during the campaign, Hillary has had nearly 30 years to improve things, and all she's done is get rich by ingratiating herself with the powerful and the obscene. To win the election, she stooped to the lowest levels of fear-mongering. Hitler, anyone? And she was caught red-handed doing this and outed by, of all people, her own intelligence agency employees who understood the danger she represented even after her supporters became more and more strident. And that's ultimately why Trump won. He promised to reverse this insanity, to offer them a chance to reclaim their dignity. In my read of geopolitics, it may be too late, but that's irrelevant. The opportunity is all any of us want, to shake off the rust and get back to work. You know, there's an old adage in hockey, winning solves all problems in the locker room. Well, yesterday, we hired a new coach who is all about winning. It's all he's ever done. Now he gets the chance to prove that he means it.